there, guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion, number 312, Fluid Mixing Saga in Landfill Terrain, and I'm joined, as always, by Bombug.
Hello, everybody.
And, yeah, so this one is a lot of information. I'm going to read the first section here that I've highlighted, and then show some screenshots and kind of just summarize the rest of it, because a lot of it's just talking about very specific like bugs they found, which I know some people may find interesting, and if you do, you can come like check it out and read it on your own. But it's a lot for me to just, or either of us to just read out loud. Um, basically, this part by Dominic. Hello, Factorians. Today I would like to talk to you about my favorite subject, fluid mixing and its prevention. It is a new mechanic introduced in 017 that seemed quite simple at first, but has given me nightmares ever since. A while ago, I took on the task of updating the fluid system mentioned in FFF 260. The way it works in 016 is that fluid boxes, the thing that holds the fluid and is contained in entities like pipes or refineries, had no organization whatsoever except their connections. They would sit there and do nothing, and then once per update, send fluid somewhere. It had its issues, especially with symmetry, and when you happened to put some fluid where it did not belong, you could end up requiring major demolition works. Which I'm pretty sure everyone has experienced or did experience at least once when you mix your fluids. Before 017, because now you can't. But before 17, when you would mix them, it would be a real problem.
Yeah, I remember connecting water to a long pipe that I had not yet connected my jack pump to, and just
Mm-hmm.
having to like tear down the whole thing. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's so annoying. uh, so then his task was to develop a better algorithm to move the fluids at a very, very optional side task I had in mind was to do something about the fluids getting to wrong places and mixing. We started by organizing the fluid boxes into systems. Connected fluid boxes make a system managed by a special fluid manager and optimizing the heck out of it mentioned in 271. And then soon after, he started working on a new algorithm and anti-fluid mixing. Until then, nobody really considered preventing the fluid mixing seriously as it did not seem possible. But when I thought about it, it did not seem that hard. The idea is to simply not allow any action that would lead to fluids getting where they are not supposed to go. When you build a steam pipeline, you should not need nor want it to touch another fluid, which makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, but there are some warning words here, right? Some flags. It did not seem that hard. Should be simple. Mm,
Yeah, which never really is. um,
yeah.
so, in principle, it would only require a few quite realistic mechanisms. Oh. A connected block of fluid boxes would either be fluid free or it would be locked to one fluid. Two such blocks can connect only if they are compatible. Either one has no fluid lock or they have the same fluid. An assembler can only set recipe if it is compatible with the fluid locks on its fluid boxes and have a migration from old saves that can maintain mixing. By creating the fluid systems right before, number one was almost finished and we only needed to assign a lock. It would be set either by a fluid or by a filter, which is a fluid box that is set to use a fluid such as a water pump using water or a simpler having some input outputs given by a recipe. After a while, I had both the fluid algorithm and the mixing done, shown in FFF 274. The mixing was not that easy, like 5 times more complicated, but it worked pretty well. Only 5 times.
Yeah. Pretty close estimate in engineering terms, honestly.
Yeah, honestly. As for the algorithm, V and Twinson found some issues with waves on a macro scale, and because it was right before releasing the 017 experimental, we decided to hold off on it for the time being. We have a new version now that seems okay, but has to wait for 17 becoming stable first. The mixing made it through though and seemed quite finished. It turned out that the work on it was at most 1/10 complete. And
Oh,
you can see all of these bug reports in regards to fluid issues.
that is like a really scary and depressing to look at as an engineer, seeing all those bugs about one.
Yeah, like especially something that you thought worked.
Yeah, because at this point he's been working on it for quite a while, right? They were like wanting to put it in, but didn't want to upset the 17 release.
Right, exactly. Um, Yeah, so this this is pretty crazy. Looking at this, and then yeah, so basically just some difficulties appeared before the initial release, but was only a hint of what was to come later. And then just tons and tons of bugs started showing up, and they weren't all just like little issues either. There was like quite a few big ones and stuff. And
Lots
then
of crashing, lots of issues with blueprints and with rotating assembly machines all over the place. Bugs, man.
yeah, seriously, like one of the main issues was that assembler machine code was like really messy with how it was like written and stuff, um, and that the problem was that the check was not required when setting recipe on an existing assembler, as I naively thought. um, but in about 1 million different situations, I would not dream existed. So they have to do like a whole like reiteration of the like assembler code, um, and they would like every case would like go through different paths and stuff in the code and behave entirely differently. Fixing one would break another, so on and so forth, to just cause more and more problems. Um, and then another big issue were the underground connections. When playing, you would not think twice about them, but on a closer look, they are all but simple. They have this cough uncomfortable feature, want to shoot myself, that you can build another underground pipe between them or take it out. And a complex reconnection logic jumps in. It means that based on building order, connections are established and reestablished differently. This is a big thing when building a blueprint with many pipes or loading a save game. But the largest issue is one tiny corner case with huge implications. Have two underground pipes that have different fluids, as shown here, but are split by a third, and it gets removed. Until now, mixing was theoretically completely avoidable, but here it was, and there was nothing to stop it. So, um, yeah, so basically you can see here on the left we have water, on the right we have oil, and the water is going into this underground pipe, this far left one, and then the one in the middle is not actually connected to anything. But if you were to remove this middle one, then it's going to automatically connect to the farther one on the right and then be mixing water and oil together.
They don't mix. They do not.
They do not, and it'd be a really unpleasant situation. Like, not really any way to like prevent that necessarily. Um, so basically, as a result, though, a new concept is introduced: a block connection, an underground connection that would normally connect but can't. Establishing it is the easier part, but when does it get fixed? Um, so yeah, this is just like kind of discussing just really in depth these bugs. Basically, the bug fixing has just been running in circles, clearing one batch of bugs, thinking that those were the last ones, and the ordeal is finally over, only to find another batch, ideally from some bizarre modder idea, a few days later. Many times I wish that mods never existed. It does make it more complicated for sure, having mods in the picture.
Absolutely. Mods can just do crazy things that the developers never expected people to do initially.
Yeah, exactly. Although he continues on that he also wishes multiplayer, or any player at all for that matter, didn't exist.
Humans really do complicate the situation. I agree with him there.
Yeah, they really do, huh?
We should do it the StarCraft one way, where they just end up building bots to play the game, and the bots are way better than any other player and can beat any player. Then you don't need players anymore.
Well, yeah, exactly. There you go. Easy. Uh, so at that moment, another nightmare materialized in the form of a talented volunteer bug tester named Boss Kid, who took on a personal crusade to break the fluids to dust. I actually imagine him sitting in his dark room with evil laughter, dreaming about making my next day worse than the previous.
No, I worked as a QA for a while, and I definitely did have some maniacal laughs when I submitted bugs. So this is pretty realistic.
That's really funny to hear. That's just like, oh yes, I'm gonna make this dev's day even worse.
Oh, sometimes you submit a bug and you're like, oh man, this dev is gonna have like 3 more weeks of work on this project because of the good luck.
Yeah, sucks to be him. In all seriousness, he has done great work has done a great deal of work with the bug testing and creating bizarre modifications and testing scripts. And there's a big thanks. He is actually coming to our offices next week, so follow the news for reports of developers falling out of Windows. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so you can kind of see in this GIF here an example of a nice configuration he found and I can't fix. So you have oil pipes here and then sulfuric acid pipe separate, and you ghost place a pipe, which then like disconnects the oil, but then you go to place a pipe the other direction and it connects the oil to the sulfuric acid pipe.
Totally overwrites the sulfuric acid.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was connected to an assembler, so like you would think that would take priority, but the oil is connected to an assembler too, and oh.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess. So the whole time we were talking, taking the offensive approach to mixing, crash the game when it happens, so that we know about bugs to fix them. Recently, we have decided to put a stop to it and have the mixing automatically fix itself once it is detected. I'm the end of this episode. Right now, I have 3 mixing bugs on list. I'm sure those are the last. And mixing will be done. Lying to myself as a way to cope with it. The new algorithm can come soon after.
Oh, check that out though. That PvP tactic, because Factorio PvP is so big right now.
Oh yeah, and of course we found a way to use automatic mixing as an evil PvP. Yeah, so pretty much just screwing up an entire oil system here by doing it.
In essence, he turned biters on to max, and now there's just endless waves of bugs coming at him. There's no hope. It's done.
Yeah, exactly. That's one way to put it. So yeah, tons of fluid mixing bugs. I can kind of see why they delayed a lot of the fluid stuff. But hopefully they're kind of coming to the end of the bug thing, wishful thinking, and can actually get the other stuff they want implemented here pretty soon.
Yeah, it looks like they were saying it would be after the 17 stable release is complete that they'd be adding in the rest of the stuff. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. They probably want to they probably want to make sure at least everything else is stable before they break something else.
Yeah. Well, maybe with all of this extra fluid that can, get squashed together, maybe they can introduce some fluid leaking. We can get a new form of pollution out there.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Pipe, an oil pipe, it bursts and it spills the oil everywhere, and now you've got environmentalists coming after you as well as the biters.
Yeah, exactly. Like sulfuric acid spills everywhere and starts rotting away your buildings.
Oh my gosh!
Please don't do that. Yeah, some leaking or whatever would be actually kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And then lastly, but not least, Landfill Terrain from Ernestes and Albert. This week, Ernestes came physically to Woob office to spend some time with us. He's normally working remotely, so we're taking the chances to finish things that we had in the drawer that needed closer communication. One of those things is specific terrain for landfill. As you know, we were using grass for it, not anymore. So you can kind of see this new pattern here. In Factorio, we have a clash of two worlds: a natural and organic planet off-grid with multiple terrain types, trees, and doodads; the world of the factory, which is mathematical, regular, modular, and totally attached to the grid. This new terrain represents a boundary in between those two worlds. The grid on its surface tries to express the artificiality of it, mechanically pressed with some sort of industrial stamp. The imperfections of the grid and its regularities are holding this man-made terrain into the realm of the natural environment. For now, the sound of landfill action is not solved. Soon, we'll take care of it.
That's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. I don't know. Something about it still seems off to me. I like it way better than just the plain grass. But
is it a little too visible? You want it reduced a bit?
Yeah, I feel like I think that's it. I think the little grid things are a little too visible to me.
Yeah, because it's if you were pouring concrete, you'd have the rebar in there, and it'd be a little more noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
In the the areas around my house, we have a lot of mountains, and we need to build up or fill back some land to make room for roads. And you will see a lot of that pattern of the grids uh, in the sort of landfill areas that they work on, but not usually on the flat surface. It usually be more on the walls to like hold things in.
Right, exactly. And then like, um, obviously, I don't know if this is something they can really implement in the game, although I feel like maybe they could. Is that like over time, I feel like a lot of that would actually just go away, just like
Yep.
from the dirt settling and like
Grass would maybe grow in.
yeah, grass would definitely probably grow in and stuff.
It would take on like a nasty, sticky, tarry feel when you spill oil all over and don't clean it up.
yeah, exactly. Um, so while I do think this is an improvement over the current landfill, it still feels not quite right. Yeah, I think you're onto something. I think it's just like too visible because like this graph paper look is visible across pretty much this entire landfill section. Um, I feel like having it on the edges, if that's even possible, would be best, and then maybe just kind of visible like here and there.
In the deeper pits of the dirt there, but not on the raised parts at all.
Yeah, yeah, something like that instead of just like literally visible across the entire thing. Because to me, it looks like yeah, I don't know. It looks kind of weird. It looks like like you I don't know, like you just like dumped some dirt and then like took
Like
like
a chicken wire, and
yeah,
just toss it
chicken
over the
wire
top.
and then just like rolled it on top of it to get a pattern and then took the wire off.
Yeah, that is a bit of like what you do when you're putting in landfill. Is you'll have like layers of wire or a cloth, and then more dirt on top, another layer of wire, more dirt, and that makes it a lot more stable. So I can see where they're getting this from.
Oh no, like that makes sense, but like the last layer is going to be dirt,
Yeah.
right? So it's like you're not going to like really see a grid pattern on the top of the dirt.
All right. So how about a mod where you put in Fortnite floor building graphics and everything? So you build in the little wood floors or something. Yeah.
Okay, I'm
That
sure
make it feel a
someone
little more
could mod
natural for you.
that. Yeah, there we go. Uh, I mean, one. Okay, so this is a little sidetracked, but landfill. Okay, whatever. It's dirt, whatever. And we have concrete. But one thing that I think's lacking in Factorio, and I'm pretty sure there's a mod for this, but in vanilla, I think it'd be cool if you could do some sort of like metal flooring. Um,
You got a ton of iron, right?
yeah, like some sort of like just like iron flooring or something. I feel like that'd be pretty cool, but
Yeah. I wonder what part of the Factorio system it would fit in, because you got to have uses for it, right? Other than just graphical.
yeah, I mean the concrete speeds up your running and your driving, and makes pollution spread faster. So iron, like metal floors, would definitely make pollution spread faster, and it would maybe, I mean, it could also increase running or driving speed, I suppose.
Yeah, if there were like build times for buildings, uh, then I could see like having a steel floor or something, maybe speed the build times up.
Mm-hmm.
But there's are there some mods that have build times for buildings? You know what I'm talking about? Where like you place an assembler machine and it takes like 10 seconds to actually build the assembler itself.
Um,
Age of Empire style, you know what I'm talking about? I
yeah,
thought there were
yeah.
some mods that did that.
I don't think so. There's like one that does that with the silo, the rocket silo, but I don't think there's any that like do that with all the buildings,
Gotcha. Okay.
unfortunately. But
Yeah, well maybe they'll find a place in this wide old factorial world for some steel floor.
yeah, yeah, I think that'd be pretty interesting. But yeah, I think that is gonna do it for this one. Some fluid stuff. I'm glad they're making some progress even through this mountain of bugs. I'm glad they are trying to make a change with the landfill because just the plain grass has kind of always bothered me a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's gonna do it. You have any other thoughts?
No, I think this was pretty bug filled this time round. I'm curious to see when they actually add all of their changes in,
Mm-hmm.
what we're gonna see in that post.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, cool. Thank you for watching, guys. As always, appreciate it. Leave your thoughts below on the forums and on Reddit. And until next time, we will see you later.
See ya.